My daughter filed a lawsuit against me for stalking. She claims I followed her across Colorado for months. Ridiculous. Because a man who cannot walk cannot stalk anyone. I had been in a wheelchair for 5 months after a skiing accident. 8 weeks in intensive care unit. Physical therapy 3 times a week. But somehow I was supposedly photographed outside her apartment wearing my old Harvard jacket, the one I donated months before the accident. Someone was stalking my daughter, but it was not me. And when I discovered who it really was, I realized we were both targets of something far more sinister. Welcome to our story. Please hit like, subscribe, and tell me where you are watching from in the comments. Quick note, this story contains fictionalized elements for educational purposes. Any resemblance to real people or places is coincidental, but the message about false accusations and family is completely real. I sat in my Denver living room staring at the papers a process server had just delivered. At 67, confined to a wheelchair for 5 months, I thought I had hit rock bottom. I was wrong. My daughter was suing me. Meredith Sullivan versus Gregory Sullivan. Harassment, stalking, intentional infliction of emotional distress. My hands trembled, not from shock, though there was plenty of that, from nerve damage after my skiing accident last January. Black ice on Breckenridge sent me into rocks, shattering 3 vertebrae. 8 weeks in intensive care, 12 more weeks learning to sit upright. And now this. The lawsuit claimed I had stalked Meredith across Colorado. Boulder, Colorado Springs, Fort Collins. 8 incidents from February through May 2024. Precise dates, specific locations. February 14th outside her apartment. March 7th at a grocery store. April 23rd at a coffee shop. The same months I had been in a hospital bed, unable to walk without 2 nurses holding me up. A man recovering from spinal surgery supposedly stalking his daughter while physical therapists kept him from falling. It should have been absurd. But Meredith's signature sat at the bottom of that document, making it real. We had been distant since her mother, Beatrice, died 6 years ago. Beatrice's death hollowed me out. I buried myself in work. When Meredith's marriage ended last year, we barely spoke. But this was different. This was betrayal. The next page showed 8 photographs. Each showed a man who looked like me. 6 feet 2 inches tall, gray hair, wire-rimmed glasses. In the first photo, outside a Boulder coffee shop, he stood with his back turned. In the second, climbing into a silver sedan. Different locations, different dates. Always the same man. Someone had planned this carefully. I studied each image. The man's posture was wrong, too straight for someone with back surgery. He walked without my limp from an old knee injury, but the resemblance was undeniable. Then I saw the 7th photograph. Boulder again. Outside the Laughing Goat coffee shop. The man faced the camera, 3/4 profile visible. He wore a navy jacket with gold lettering. Harvard class of 1984 reunion. My jacket, the one I donated to Goodwill last November, 2 months before my accident. A random purge of old clothes I never wore. My breath caught. Someone had tracked down my donated jacket, worn it, had themselves photographed to look like me, while I was helpless in a hospital bed. This was not random. This was calculated, personal. Someone knew about that jacket, knew my life, knew exactly how to hurt me through my daughter. I reached for my phone. I needed a lawyer, an investigator, someone who could explain how this was possible. But first, I needed to understand why. My company, Sullivan Systems, had made enemies when I had sold it 3 years ago. Former partners, competitors. But this level of planning, This felt like revenge, and whoever was behind it had succeeded. They had turned my only child against me while I was too broken to defend myself. How did someone get that jacket? And why go to such elaborate lengths to impersonate me? I reached for my phone with shaking hands. Bernard Clayton had handled my business litigation for 15 years. If anyone could make sense of this, it was him. He answered on the second ring. "Gregory, how is recovery? Bernard, I need help. Meredith just sued me." Silence. For what? Stalking. Harassment. 8 incidents across Colorado. February through May. The months you were hospitalized. Exactly. Email me the complaint now. I will call back in 10 minutes. Those 10 minutes crawled. I wheeled to the kitchen, poured water. I did not drink. My neighbor mowed his lawn outside. Normal life continuing. Bernard called back. "You have an ironclad alibi. Hospital records document everything. Nursing logs, visitor records, security footage. This gets dismissed quickly. Someone made it look convincing. Then we prove it is fabricated. Request copies immediately. Hospital records from Denver General, rehabilitation logs, visitor logs, phone records, everything. How long? 2 to 3 days. I will expedite." He paused. "Give me your Verizon account access. I can pull preliminary phone records now." I gave him my information, heard typing, clicking. "You called Meredith 3 times in 6 months, January 3rd, 15th, and April 7th. My throat tightened. January 3rd about my surgery, 15th from the hospital. April 7th was her birthday. Call length, 2 minutes each. She did not want to talk. The complaint claims 14 calls, threatening voicemails. Impossible. Someone spoofed your number. His voice sharpened. This is sophisticated, Gregory. Technical. Someone with resources. Walk me through your timeline. Exact dates. I closed my eyes. January 15th, 2024. Ski accident at Breckenridge. Airlifted to Denver General. 3 vertebrae shattered. Surgery that night. Then intensive care unit until March 10th. 8 weeks. I could not move without help. After discharge, home rehabilitation. Nurse Janet Thornton, 3 times weekly physical therapy, learning wheelchair transfers. The humiliation still burned. I have not left this house except for doctor appointments. The stalking allegations cover February through May, when I could not cross a room alone. Bernard was quiet. Tell me about Meredith. When did things deteriorate? After Beatrice died 6 years ago, I buried myself in work. By the time I surfaced, Meredith had moved to Boulder. Her marriage ended 8 months ago. I tried reaching out. She would not answer. So she is vulnerable, isolated. Yes, perfect target for manipulation. He paused. Business enemies. Anyone with a serious grudge. I thought about Sullivan Systems. I sold it 3 years ago. Clean transitions, good severance. I cannot think of anyone. Think harder. This level of effort is personal. Before I could respond, Bernard made a sound. Surprise? Maybe alarm? What? Meredith's attorney. He is not local. What do you mean? He is based in Seattle. Criminal prosecution specialist. Expensive firm. My chest constricted. Seattle. It gets more interesting. My courthouse contact says someone else is paying his fees. Meredith's name is on the lawsuit, but she is not writing the checks. The room tilted. Someone is funding this. Someone with deep pockets and motivation. They have hired a Seattle attorney, paid for surveillance, fabricated evidence, spoofed phone records. This is coordinated, Gregory. Who would go this far? That is what we need to find out. Bernard's voice was grim. Meredith's lawyer flew in from Seattle, and according to my contact, someone else is bankrolling this entire lawsuit. Meredith is not paying for it herself. Seattle. Someone with resources and a vendetta. Someone willing to weaponize my own daughter to destroy me. That night, I could not sleep. Bernard's words echoed in my head. Someone else is paying for this. I wheeled myself to my office, spread the 8 photographs across my desk, and began studying every detail. If someone had gone to this much trouble, there had to be clues. Photo 1. Boulder, outside a coffee shop called The Laughing Goat. The man stood with his back half turned, face mostly obscured. Height looked right, around 6 feet 2 inches. Build similar to mine, though I had lost weight during recovery. Photo 2. Same location, different angle. The man climbing into a silver sedan. Gray hair, visible wire-rimmed glasses catching the light. Photos 3 and 4 shifted to Colorado Springs, a mall parking lot, a public park. Better angles now, 3/4 profiles. The resemblance was stronger. Same receding hairline, same slight stoop to the shoulders. But something felt wrong. I examined photo 4 with my magnifying glass. The man's posture. Too straight, too steady. I had had a distinctive limp since knee surgery 10 years ago, a slight favor of my right leg. This man walked normally. Photos 5 and 6. Fort Collins, a restaurant patio, a street corner. The clearest shots yet. I could see his face now, partially visible. The resemblance was uncanny. But it was not me. Photo 7. Back to Boulder. The Harvard jacket, navy with gold lettering. The man's face in 3/4 profile, almost looking at the camera. Professional angle, perfect lighting, telephoto lens creating that slightly compressed perspective. I opened my laptop and uploaded the photos, checking the metadata. Canon EOS R5. Professional camera. Expensive lens, probably 70 to 200 millimeter zoom. Each shot taken from at least 100 feet away. This was not some amateur with a phone. This was surveillance-level work. Someone hired a professional photographer, I muttered. The thought made my skin crawl. This level of planning, tracking down my donated jacket, finding someone who resembled me, coordinating dates and locations across 3 cities, all while I was helpless in a hospital bed. I thought about Meredith at 8 years old, the 2 of us on those Breckenridge slopes. Her laughing as I showed her how to carve a tern. The same mountain where 5 months ago I had gone searching for those memories and nearly died instead. Someone had studied my life, knew my habits, my history, my weaknesses. Photo 8 pulled me back. Boulder again. The man entering an apartment building, back to the camera. The shot seemed almost careless compared to the others. I zoomed in on my laptop screen. Building number visible above the entrance. 2847. My hand stilled. I opened a new tab. Typed the address. 2847 Walnut Street, Boulder. The street view loaded. A modern building. 6 stories. Balconies facing the street. I had been there before, dropping off birthday gifts Meredith had not wanted. My daughter's apartment building. My chest tightened. This photograph was not about impersonating me at a random location. This was about Meredith. About watching her. About being outside her home. I clicked back to the photo, looked at the timestamp embedded in the file. March 17th, 3:47 p.m. I opened my hospital records in another tab, scrolled to that date. March 17th, 3:47 p.m. Physical therapy session. Nurse Janet's notes detailed my struggle that day, how I had nearly collapsed trying to move from bed to wheelchair. While I had been fighting to sit upright, someone had been outside my daughter's apartment, photographing, watching, waiting. The timestamp on photo 8 was March 17th, 3:47 p.m. I pulled up my hospital records. March 17th, 3:47 p.m. I had been in physical therapy, trying to transfer from bed to wheelchair without collapsing, but there was something else that made my blood run cold. That building, 2847 Walnut Street, that was Meredith's apartment. Someone had not just been impersonating me. They had been watching my daughter, and I had no way to warn her. The next morning, I called Bernard before 7 a.m. We need more than a defense lawyer. We need someone who can find who is doing this. 20 minutes later, he called back. Catherine Reeves, former FBI, now private investigator. She could be at my house by noon. Catherine arrived carrying a leather briefcase and the bearing of someone who had spent years reading people. Mid-40s, sharp eyes that registered my wheelchair without comment or pity. Mr. Sullivan, Bernard speaks highly of you. Call me Gregory. Coffee? I am fine. She settled across from me, pulled out a laptop. Walk me through everything. I did. The lawsuit, photographs, phone records, Seattle lawyer. She listened without interrupting, occasionally making notes. May I see the photographs? I handed her the folder. She studied each with professional eyes. Telephoto lens, 100-foot minimum distance. This is surveillance from fixed positions, not someone following on foot. The metadata showed a Canon EOS R5. Professional grade, $5,000 to $10,000 in equipment alone. Add the photographer's time, coordination across 3 cities. That is serious investment. Bernard mentioned phone spoofing, voice over Internet Protocol service, probably Eastern European servers, traceable with time. She set the photos aside. The Seattle lawyer troubles me most. Criminal prosecution specialist filing civil harassment in Colorado. Unnecessary and expensive unless someone wanted no local connections. Someone who would not ask questions. Exactly. She leaned forward. Gregory, this level of planning means personal vendetta. Someone who knows you, knows your daughter, has resources and motivation. Who have you crossed? I have been thinking about this since yesterday. I retired 3 years ago. Sold Sullivan Systems. Most transitions were smooth. I cannot think of anyone. Think harder. This level of effort is personal. I went through the years, deals, competitors, employees. Nothing warranted this. Then I stopped. Wait, Russell Harmon. We co-founded Sullivan Systems 15 years ago. Best friends. Built the company together. The words came hard. 2022. I discovered he had been embezzling $380,000 over 18 months. What did you do? Exposed him. We had other shareholders. It was my ethical obligation. I met her eyes. Federal prosecution, 2 years. How did he take it? Lost everything. Shares, savings, house. Wife divorced him. Kids stopped speaking. Bankruptcy. Reputation destroyed. I swallowed. Released about 14 months ago. Moved to Seattle. Catherine's expression shifted. Seattle. She typed rapidly. Russell Harmon, 56. Released December 2022. Seattle, Washington. Freelance consultant. His DMV photo appeared. Thinner, harder, but unmistakably Russell. Social media. She pulled up Facebook. Created 10 months ago. Minimal activity. Hiding or starting over. She scrolled. Wait. One photo posted 6 months ago. Restaurant interior. Craft beer. Captioned, Great Colorado food. He is in Colorado. Boulder, according to the location tag. She zoomed. The background behind Russell's table. Slightly out of focus. A woman. Blonde hair. Laughing. The image quality was poor. Angle bad. But something about the profile. The way she held her wine glass. Catherine turned the laptop toward me. Catherine's question hung in the air. "Is that your daughter?" I leaned closer to the screen, heart pounding. The image was blurry, taken from a distance, but the blonde hair, the way she held her wine glass, the profile. "I think so," I whispered, "but I need to be sure." Catherine's fingers were already flying across her keyboard. Meredith's social media is mostly private, but let me see what is visible. She pulled up Facebook, then Instagram. Relationship status changed 7 months ago. January 2024. In a relationship. 1 month after her divorce finalized. 7 months. Russell had been dating my daughter for 7 months. Very few public photos, but her friends comment. Catherine clicked on a post. Birthday wishes from March. So happy you found someone. Cameron seems like such a great guy. You deserve this after everything. Cameron. What is his last name? Catherine switched to Meredith's friends list. Found a mutual friend named Marley Cooper. Her Instagram is public. She scrolled through Marley's feed. A party photo from February tagged Boulder. Group shot caption. Game night crew. Several people tagged, including one name that made my stomach drop. Cameron Ashford. There he was in the photo. Beard, glasses, dark sweater, arm around Meredith, smiling. Catherine ran a comprehensive search. Cameron Ashford, Boulder, age 50 to 60. A LinkedIn profile appeared. Cameron Ashford, 54, business consultant, moved to Boulder 10 months ago. Generic corporate descriptions, vague details. Professional headshot showing a bearded man in glasses. Height listed as 6 feet 1 inch. Build matches Russell's. She pulled up another window, loaded an old photo of Russell from the Sullivan Systems website archive. Clean-shaven, thinner, harder angles, but the bone structure. Could it be him? I stared at the two images. Last time I saw Russell, he was clean-shaven, thinner. This man looks different. That is the point. Catherine opened another program. Facial recognition software analyzes bone structure, eye spacing, ear shape, facial ratios. Disguises do not matter. She uploaded Cameron's photo from Instagram, then Russell's from 2022. The software processed, mapping points across each face, comparing measurements invisible to the human eye. A percentage appeared. 87% match probability. My hands gripped the wheelchair arms. That son of a... He has been dating my daughter for 7 months, since right after he got out of prison. More calculated than that. Catherine's voice was grim. Look at the timeline. He moved to Boulder 10 months ago, 2 months after his release. That means he spent 2 months planning, finding her, learning about her, then engineering the chance meeting. The room felt smaller. He is using her to get to me, or punishing you both, destroying your relationship by framing you, isolating her from you, making her think you are dangerous while he is the safe one. My throat tightened. We have to tell her, warn her. How? Catherine's eyes were sympathetic, but firm. She is suing you for stalking. If you try contacting her, it validates the lawsuit. If we accuse her boyfriend without concrete proof, she will think we are desperate. Predators like Russell bank on that. They make themselves indispensable to their victims. So, what do? We gather more evidence. I need to. My phone rang. Unknown number. I looked at Catherine. She already had her recording device ready, nodded once. I took a breath and answered. Hello? Silence. Then a voice I had not heard in 5 months. Dad? It is Meredith. Her voice was strained, formal. My throat tightened. Meredith, How do you talk to your daughter when she is suing you? This is not about the lawsuit. I need to talk about Cameron. Something is wrong. I glanced at Catherine. She nodded, recording. What do you mean? Not over the phone. Can we meet somewhere public? Of course. When? Tomorrow. Coffee shop on Colfax near you. 1 p.m. I will be there. I paused. Meredith, whatever is happening, I am still your father. Her voice cracked. I know. That is why I called. The next day, I arrived early. Catherine was across the street, watching. Meredith arrived at 1:05. Thinner, shadows under her eyes. Defensive body language, like someone afraid of breaking. Hi, Dad. No hug. She sat across from me. Hi, sweetheart. Silence. Pain on both our faces. Then she started talking, rapid, like she had been holding it in. I met Cameron 7 months ago. January work conference, right after my divorce. She did not know he had targeted her. I was a mess. Then he was there. Patient. Understanding. He seemed perfect, successful, kind, supportive. After 6 weeks, everyone loved him. 2 months ago, Cameron showed me evidence. Photos of you at places I had been, phone logs, voicemails from your number saying angry things about me abandoning you. Meredith, I was hospitalized. I made 3 calls. Surgery, survival, your birthday. I know that now, but the evidence looked real. He said you were obsessed, dangerous. He insisted we sue. Paid for the lawyer. I was scared. What changed? Last week, his laptop was open. I saw a photo of Cameron without his beard or glasses, different hair. He looked familiar, like someone from an old photo you showed me. Next day, I went back to his apartment, used his spare key. She looked guilty. I found a burner phone. Texts about the plan. Phase 1, Phase 2. I confronted him. He explained it away. Business deal. But his eyes were cold, calculating. Yesterday, I got an anonymous email, an attachment. She showed me her phone. News article, 2022. Russell Harmon sentenced for embezzlement. His photo, clean-shaven, unmistakably Cameron's bone structure. That is Cameron, I said quietly. Russell Harmon. We built Sullivan Systems together. He stole from the company. I had to expose him. She started crying. He has been lying for 7 months. Made me sue you. Made me think you were dangerous when he is the dangerous one. I reached across the table, took her hand. This is not your fault. Russell is a master manipulator. He knew exactly how vulnerable you were. That is what predators do. She squeezed my hand. We need to figure out what he really wants. It is not just revenge. Through her tears, Meredith whispered, Dad, there is more. He does not know I know who he is. I have been pretending everything is normal. But last week, Cameron proposed. I said yes. The wedding is in 3 weeks. My heart stopped. And Dad, he has been asking questions about your health, your assets. Her voice broke. About how long you might live. He asked how long you might live. Less than an hour later, we were all gathered in my living room. I had called Bernard from the coffee shop parking lot. Catherine had followed us home. Meredith sat beside me on the couch, her hands gripping mine so tightly her knuckles had gone white. This was not about clearing my name anymore. This was about saving my daughter's life. Catherine had transformed my dining table into a command center. Photos, hospital records, phone logs, everything we had collected spread across the surface like pieces of a puzzle, finally coming together. Bernard's face filled my laptop screen, his expression grim as Catherine walked him through what she had found. Cameron Ashford does not exist, Catherine said, pulling up a DMV record on her tablet. The Social Security number belongs to a Cameron Ashford who died in Oregon in 2019. The driver's license is a fake. LinkedIn, Facebook, Everything created in March of 2023. My stomach turned. He had been planning this for over a year. There is more, Catherine continued. I traced a $50,000 wire transfer in October of 2023. It came from an offshore account in the Cayman Islands. I have got contacts at the FBI working on the source, but that will take time. What about the photos? Meredith's voice was barely a whisper. Curtis Webb, professional photographer, did time with Russell at the same federal facility. Released December 2022, same month as Russell. Currently operating out of Seattle. Catherine pulled up a surveillance photo. He is known for this kind of work. Stalking, gathering evidence for blackmail or harassment cases. All 8 photos match his equipment signature. Bernard leaned forward on the screen. What about the phone calls? The voicemails? A Viba voice over Internet protocol spoofing through a server in Moldova. Payments in cryptocurrency, nearly impossible to trace. Catherine zoomed in on a map of Colorado. But here is the interesting part. All 14 calls originated from the same IP address in Boulder, an apartment complex 3 blocks from where Cameron lives. The room fell silent. He had been calling from his own apartment, pretending to be me, leaving threatening voicemails for my daughter while she slept. What do we do? I asked. Bernard spoke carefully. The evidence is circumstantial. We need him on record. We need him to confess. Colorado is a one-party consent state, Catherine added. If Meredith agrees to be recorded, anything Russell says is admissible in court. No. The word came out harder than I intended. I am not putting her in danger. Dad. Meredith squeezed my hand. He already put me in danger. He has been living with me for 7 months, planning God knows what. I am doing this. Catherine pulled a small necklace from her bag. A delicate silver pendant. Micro camera and audio. Real-time feed. I will be monitoring from a van outside. Detective Burke will be 2 blocks away with backup. The second things go wrong. We move in. What do I say to him? Meredith asked. Do not accuse him of anything, Bernard advised. Just talk about the future, the wedding, your father's health, his assets. Let him talk. Men like Russell cannot help themselves. They need to feel smarter than everyone else. Catherine demonstrated the necklace, showing Meredith how the panic button worked. 3 rapid taps on the pendant. Tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Invite him to dinner at your place. Somewhere comfortable, familiar. Somewhere he will feel safe. I looked at my daughter. Really looked at her. She had lost so much already. Her mother, her marriage, and now this. Meredith, I am so sorry. I never thought. Dad, stop. She wrapped her arms around me, and for the first time in 6 years, I held my daughter. This is not your fault. You did not do this. He did. Catherine checked her watch. We will be in position by 6:45 tomorrow evening. I will do a final equipment check at 6 o'clock. Meredith, keep your routine normal. Do not let him suspect anything. As Catherine packed up her equipment, she pulled a printed bank statement from her folder and handed it to me. Gregory, one more thing. That $50,000 from the Caymans. I traced it back one more level. I looked down at the paper. The original wire transfer showed a company name I had not seen in 3 years. Sullivan Industries, LLC, the parent company of Sullivan Systems. Someone from my old company had bankrolled Russell's revenge. Who? I asked. Catherine's expression darkened. That is what we are going to find out. Before I take you into that dining room where everything came to light, I want to hear from you. If you are still here, comment truth below. Show me you are ready for what Russell really said. Fair warning, the next part contains fictionalized details to protect identities and enhance the lesson. If that is not for you, it is okay to step away now. But if you want to know how we caught him, keep listening. The next evening, my phone buzzed at 6:52. A text from Meredith. He is here. Wires on, starting now. I sat in my living room, laptop open, headphones on. Catherine was in a van 50 feet from Meredith's apartment. Bernard beside me, legal pad ready. Detective Burke, 2 blocks away in plainclothes. All we could do was listen and pray. The audio crackled, a door closing. Russell's voice. Something smells incredible. Meredith, controlled but nervous. Just carbonara, your favorite. For 20 minutes they ate. Small talk about work. Weather. The wedding. Then Meredith steered where we needed. 3 weeks is fast for a wedding, but I am excited. Me too. Cannot wait to make you my wife. We should talk about practical things, though, like where we will live. My place is small. A pause. I was thinking my dad's house in Denver. 4 bedrooms. After he is gone, it will be ours. Russell's tone sharpened. Let us not think about your father right now, but we have to plan right. That house is worth almost $2 million, plus his investment accounts. Bernard mentioned a trust fund when we filed the lawsuit. Silence. The sound of a fork being set down. Bernard mentioned that your lawyer from Seattle asked about Dad's assets. I assumed it was for the case. Right, the case. Another pause. Your father deserves everything happening to him. He is old, injured. These things happen. Life is fragile. My hands gripped the armrests. Bernard scribbled. Meredith's voice trembled. Cameron, what if Dad is telling the truth? What if he really was in the hospital? What if someone faked he was in the hospital? Silence. You what? Russell caught himself. I mean, even if he was, it does not matter. He could have hired someone, but you just said he was there. How do you know? Longer silence. Russell stood. His voice turned cold. When did you figure it out, Meredith? Figure what out? Do not play dumb. When did you realize who I really am? Catherine's voice in my other ear, ready to breach on your word. Meredith stopped pretending. The article about Russell Harmon, the man who embezzled from Sullivan Systems, the man my father sent to prison. Russell laughed bitterly. So that is it. You want the truth? Fine. Yes, I am Russell Harmon. I staged everything. The photos, the calls, all of it. I spoke into the mic. We have the confession. Catherine, hold position. Let him talk. Russell's anger rose. Your father destroyed me. 2 years in federal prison. I lost everything. The company, the money, my family. My own kids will not speak to me. All because he could not forgive one mistake. $380,000 is not a small mistake. It was my company, too. I deserve that money. So I decided to deliver real justice. The lawsuit was phase 1. Isolate you. Make you dependent on me. Make him look insane. Phase 1. There are more. Russell grew terrifyingly calm. Phase 2 was the wedding. Life insurance. Your father is already weak. Accidents happen to old men in wheelchairs. Falls, medication. You inherit everything. My blood froze. Bernard whispered. Conspiracy to murder. And phase 3. You do not need to worry about that. What does that mean? It means you are temporary too. After your father is dead, after I have the money, tragic accidents happen to young wives. Then I disappear. New identity. New life. Funded by the $2 million your father owes me. You're insane. I'm practical now. Where is the wire? Meredith. Sounds of struggle. Meredith screamed. Let go, I shouted. Catherine, go. A thunderous crash. Catherine. Denver PD. Hands up. Step away from her. Scuffling. Burke's voice, on the ground now. Russell tried to run. A heavy thud. Burke. Russell Harmon. You are under arrest for identity fraud, stalking, and conspiracy to commit murder. 20 minutes later, Bernard wheeled me into Meredith's apartment. Police everywhere. Yellow tape. Evidence bags. Meredith sat on the couch, wrapped in a blanket. She saw me. Dad. She dropped to her knees. I held her tight. You are safe. I have got you. He was going to kill us both, but he did not. You stopped him. Detective Burke approached. We will need statements tomorrow. But you should know we searched Russell's apartment. We found notebooks, detailed plans, maps, timelines. His face darkened. This was much bigger than we thought. 1 week after Russell's arrest, Detective Burke sat across from me with a thick evidence file on the coffee table. Meredith insisted on being there. I need to know everything. Burke explained it clearly. Phase 1 involved stalking, spoofed calls, and the lawsuit. Curtis Webb, a photographer arrested in Seattle, had been paid $8,000 and stole my Harvard jacket from Goodwill. Phase 2 covered the wedding, then my murder, staged as an accident within a year. Russell researched wheelchair falls, medication swaps, and suffocation, and drafted life insurance policies worth $500,000 on my life. Phase 3 planned Meredith's accident months later, before Russell vanished to South America with a new identity. Meredith went pale. I held her hand. The financial trail led to Roger Kensington, CFO of TechCorp Industries, which bought Sullivan Systems. Russell's old college friend embezzled $50,000 to fund the plot, expecting part of my inheritance. Both men faced federal charges. Russell was sentenced to 18 years in November and denied bail as a flight risk. The lawsuit was dismissed. Bernard filed countersuits we would never collect, but they would follow Russell forever. Meredith began therapy, left Boulder, and temporarily stayed in Denver near me. We had dinner together every night, finally having conversations we should have shared years earlier. She taught me Facebook and Instagram. I fumbled with technology, and she laughed. Real laughter. The first in months. 3 months later, I took my first steps with a walker. 6 months later, I walked with a cane. In December, a letter arrived from Russell in prison. Bitter and unapologetic, he blamed me, claiming righteousness and justice with no remorse for Meredith. I felt no anger, only pity. Russell never understood. I did not destroy him. His choices did. He chose theft, revenge, and cruelty. I am not responsible for his choices, only my own. By December 2024, Meredith moved permanently to Denver with a new marketing job and founded Clear Sight, a non-profit helping victims of manipulation. I joined the board, and we plan to share our story at the first workshop in January. I volunteered at the local university, teaching ethics in entrepreneurship, reminding students that success without integrity is failure. I learned difficult lessons. Technology can weaponize lies, but it also leaves evidence trails that do not lie. I almost lost Meredith twice. Once to grief after Beatrice died, and once to a predator who exploited that distance. The court gave Russell 18 years. That is justice. But justice does not heal everything. Time with Meredith heals. Rebuilding trust heals. Choosing forgiveness over bitterness heals. One Sunday morning in December, we stood in my kitchen as coffee brewed and sunlight filled the room. Meredith's mug sat on the counter. I leaned on my cane while she cooked breakfast, and we planned Christmas. It was normal and peaceful. Russell wanted to destroy us. Instead, he brought us back together. The lawsuit papers rest in Bernard's office, and the fake evidence is locked away. Meredith's coffee mug sits on my counter each morning, and her laughter fills rooms once silent. Some endings are really beginnings. This is ours at last. Looking back on everything, the false accusations, the manipulation, nearly losing my daughter, I see God's hand throughout. When I was helpless in that hospital bed, God was building evidence I did not even know I would need. When Russell plotted my destruction, God was protecting Meredith through my prayers. Do not make my mistakes. I buried myself in work after Beatrice died, pushing away the one person who needed me most. I thought business success mattered more than relationships. I was wrong. These grandpa stories I share now. They are warnings. Learn from an old fool who almost lost everything. Here is what I learned. Trust, but verify. Meredith trusted Russell blindly. I should have taught her earlier to watch for red flags. Isolation, manipulation, too perfect timing. Document everything. Those hospital records, phone logs, photos, they saved us. In a world of digital lies, evidence is your armor. Family is everything. Money, companies, achievements, they mean nothing if you're alone. Forgiveness heals. I could have spent my remaining years hating Russell. Instead, God helped me choose peace. And technology cuts both ways. It can frame you or free you. These grandpa stories are not just entertainment. They are survival guides. If my mistakes help one person recognize manipulation, if one family reconciles before it is too late, then maybe God used even Russell's evil for good. If this resonated with you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment telling me your thoughts. I read everyone. And subscribe so you do not miss the next story. I have got more to tell, and God willing, more wisdom to share. Thank you for staying until the end. I know these grandpa stories can be heavy. A word of caution. The next story contains some fictionalized elements created for educational purposes. If you would rather not continue, feel free to explore other content that suits you better. God bless and take care of each.